are delighted to start our elevator pitch session with three speakers: a freelancer, a journalist turned podcaster, and a managing editor who will tell us about projects that delve on portraying the stories and issues of people with disabilities, giving a voice to migrants, and providing a platform to LGBTIQA plus people. Each speaker will have 5 minutes to talk about their projects, and the presentations will follow without a break on this occasion between them. Angie, would you like to introduce our speakers?
Yes, of course. The first speaker is Ria Andriani. Ria is an Indonesian freelance writer and musician based in Sydney. Ria has written on accessibility, arts, and lifestyle for The Guardian, SBS, Open Literary Journal, and Unbias the News Project. Ria will provide a snapshot of how diverse people with disabilities are and some ideas on how to make the world a more inclusive and accessible world for everyone. Next, we will have Lola Hierro. Lola is a journalist, photographer, and writer. Since 2013, she has worked for El País, mainly in the human rights section called Planeta Futuro. Lola is here to present today their last project, The Language I Brought With Me. And last but not least, we welcome Aris Dimokidis. Aris is the manager of Mikropragmata from LIFO, one of the biggest and most influential publications, both in print and online in Greece. Aris' work focuses on social diversity and LGBTQ plus issues. Ria, you are the first one to talk. So then goes Lola and then goes Aris. Don't worry about the time because I will keep an eye on it. So Ria, you start.
Thank you so much, Angie. It's such an honor to be here and being part of today's News Impact Summit. I'd like to share some highlight the importance of first-person journalism and why it's important, especially when someone like me, I'm part of the cross-section of disability and also a minority group. Shared experience is a common currency of the way we live. So things like childhood TV shows, snacks, the way we celebrate milestones in life, and also holiday traditions, things like that. But what about if your experiences are different to everyone else's? So as I said before, I'm a migrant with disability, currently living in Australia. I have congenital glaucoma, which means I became blind since the age of 5. Living as part of a minority group is something I have to do, even in my birth country of Indonesia. In navigating my world, writing first-person experiences is one way of telling my story and also making new connection and making the world just a bit more inclusive. Next slide, please, Angie. So my first ever article was about going to theatre. It was an audio-described show called The Rabbits, which was an allegorical telling of the colonization of Australia by animals because it was written for children. I quote the tactile tour description. Gary, who was our lovely tour guide, showed us a long pole with a flag on one end and a gun on the other, which the rabbits planted on the ground to mark their territories. We felt the rabbits' elaborate costumes, such as the hat, the brass studs, gold medallion, and trims and things like that, and how stiff the contraption of it felt quite boat-shaped, which went around the torso, and also just how elaborate it was. Sorry, my clock is going. I hope that's all right, everyone. So in the pre-show note, it says that the black coat was full of indecipherable calligraphy, which was a bit like what they had in the book. So that was a nice connection from them. Unfortunately, it wasn't tactile, but just knowing that was there was what added a layer of meaning to just kind of like having, oh yeah, that was a quote, quite stiff, quite nice. For the full article, you can go to the Guardian website. The link should be showing on your screen. And when you're ready, could you please go to the next slide? Playing tourist can be a fun but challenging experience if you can't see what you're looking at. On your screen right now, you should be able to see an extract from my piece, Seeing Through Perspective, which was a diary of my adventures visiting art galleries in Australia and the UK. I'm not going to read it out for brevity's sake, but you're welcome to check it out. It's part of the Overland Literary Journal. And when you're ready, could you please go to the next slide? When COVID-19 hit in Sydney in March 2020, which was behind everyone else, admittedly, life changed very quickly. Amid the fear and uncertainty, restrictions, and also rules, one thing became quite clear to me. The public health advice was written from the baseline of an able-bodied person in mind. I detailed some of these challenges for the Special Broadcasting Services, SBS, which is a great Australian publication that champions multiculturalism and diverse voices. Following the rules of social distancing isn't that clear cut when your world revolves around contact. Writing for this publication also allowed me to open up what it's like to go away from my birth country.
Sorry, your time is off, but don't worry, we will share all the links you shared with us. Thank you so much, Ria. Now it's time for Lola Hierro from El País.
Hello there. Hello, everybody from Madrid. Well, I'm going to talk about a podcast. Its name is, in Spanish, El idioma que traje conmigo, así suena África en España, and in English it can be translated like, the language I brought with me. This is how Africa sounds in Spain. So what is it? Well, you all know that the African lands are home to more than 2,000 languages, a lot, and some almost lost, but others are fully alive. Despite the colonization by countries from the global north and the attempt to impose their own languages such as English, French, Portuguese, or Spanish, today in Africa there are many other languages like Wolof, Swahili, or Hausa, among others, that are gaining ground. But how do expats keep alive their mother tongue? Well, in Planeta Futuro, the section I work for in El País, we had an idea that, in fact, it came during a coffee break with my colleague Nur Mahtani, the other journalist who is involved in this project. We were thinking about this issue, and we decided to show a piece of this linguistic treasure through those who have traveled from their original countries to Spain. Spain is a country where we have a lot of migrant people, so it should be easy. Well, with Nigerian people, Malians, Senegalese, Kenyan, Guineans, all the African community is showing us through a series of interviews and podcasts what their language sounds like and what they do so as not to forget it and achieve it for future generations. Because as you can imagine, in Spain, they are used to speak Spanish or Catalan and other languages, but the mother tongue sometimes is easy to forget if you don't use it. So we divided this podcast in 5 chapters. We started in January. In each chapter, several people from countries in the chosen region are interviewed. Interviews are audio pieces in which the protagonist tells listeners about his or her mother tongue. Not only how it sounds and how many people speak it, but also memories from the childhood, and if they are still using it at home, if their children are learning it. Then, well, every interview in the end is a tribute to an African language and to the efforts of many people who struggle, to keep them alive despite the distance. So, well, as I said, we divided the podcast in five chapters, divided in the regions that we have in Africa: North, West, Central, East, and South. We have already published 3 of them for the North, the West, and Central Africa. We are going to publish the 4th one about East Africa. And on December, we will publish the last one about the southern part of Africa, this last December. And well, I have to say that our goal is not only about culture. With thousands of Africans living in Spain, this project also aims to be a tool to stretch the distances among the diaspora and the Spanish people, because it's not a secret that Spain is a kind country where we host thousands of migrants and refugees, but it isn't less true that we still face problems as racism and xenophobia in our society. So this podcast, The Language I Brought With Me, is an attempt to show to our readers in El País, to our listeners, different narratives about our migrants, far from the typical news in media related to the illegal entries in the borders, the poverty, and other negative discourses. We want to enrich the acknowledgement of our African neighbors. And well, the last thing I can say is that we are almost to publish the 4th part of this podcast. As I said, it's going to be about the eastern part of Africa, and we already interviewed people from Kenya, from Mozambique, from Comoros, from Tanzania, with a man who is from the Maasai tribe who lives in Mallorca, and also from Rwanda. We have a Catholic priest who lives in Catalonia, and also from Ethiopia. So this is what I can say about this. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Lola. You even had 30 seconds left, and now Aris, is your turn.
Yes, hello from Thessaloniki and Greece. I'm going to talk about diversity in the digital workroom regarding LGBTQ plus people. Well, I have a little feedback, so I'm doing something. Okay. When I was a teenager in the early 90s, there were very few programs or articles about gay people, and I was very happy even with the worst of them, and they were all the worst. The shows had always some priests that were talking against homosexuals, but there were no out reporters or journalists, and I cannot contain myself to compare with the past with today in Greece. Things are 1,000 times better. Rarely are abusive words used. Apart from the brave people, celebrities who came out.
Camera. Okay.
Who came out. They were very helpful. Some politicians, they had to change the status quo. Alexis Tsipras, the previous prime minister, with the civil partnership. Kyriakos Mitsotakis, the current, even though he's a right-wing prime minister, he scolded MPs for homophobic language and is about to hopefully vote the gay marriage for everyone. I'm happy with these things. It's not worse in Greece, but not better than the rest of the Europe. Working in one of the biggest sites in Greece, LIFO, which was open from day one to my proposals about the coverage of gay issues, it gave me a chance to write and record various articles and podcasts about the issues that are important for our community. Someone gave me the opportunity to talk about these issues when I was a junior reporter, and now as a manager, I feel it's my turn to give the others the opportunity to talk about their truths. When we hire, we don't care about genders or sexualities. I won't hire a trans person over a straight if they're not better in journalism. However, diversity in the workroom is positive when you actively search for people who will cover certain issues, gender or equality or race. In these cases, there are almost never better candidates than those from those backgrounds. So by now, creating job positions and descriptions that give the former outcasts of society a chance to find their voice, you can fill the workroom, the digital workroom in my case, with diversity. Even though we're not a gay publication, in our workroom we have and treasure lesbians, gay, trans people, everyone. At the beginning, they were writing only about things they already knew because they were better at it. Now they write about everything. I hope that very soon it won't be necessary to have certain specialized positions in order to hire people from diverse backgrounds. And I also hope that this will be something that everybody does, all mainstream outlets, not only the most progressive of those. So I'm done. That's it for me.
Thank you, Aris. As well as Lola, you even had 30 seconds left. Thank you very much for your...
Can I give it to Ria? My 30 seconds. Can I give them to Ria?
Absolutely. This is a really nice gesture.
Thank you, Aris. Yes, I have to talk faster. Yes, as Angie said, you can check out all the works that I've done, especially about the When Help Hurts from Unbias News. Thank you so much for having me here, and have a great day.
Thank you, Ria. Thank you, Aris, and thank you very much, Lola. This was really a mini marathon, but we are very happy to have you here and sharing your work with us, and we are looking forward to seeing more of your work in the future.
Thanks a lot, Angie. Indeed, I just wanted to mention we will share about Ria's, Lola's, and Aris's work in the EJC social media as well. Of course, these were very brief presentations, so make sure to check our Twitter account to follow their work.